Welcome to the We Are More podcast. My name is Alyssa.
And my name's Bree. We're two sisters passionate about all things faith and feminism.
We believe that Jesus trusted, respected, and encouraged women to teach and preach his word. And apparently that's controversial.
Get comfy.
Hello, and good news, we're still sick. Good news, we're nearly dead.
I feel like normally when I have a cold, it's, 4 days. What is happening?
The plague.
I think it might be.
Yeah.
We caught the plague.
We caught the Patricia.
I don't know. It's a bad time. I'm having a bad time over here.
I feel like we've been dealing with the winds of change. And by that, I mean nature. And by that, I mean, do you live in a place where you experience all 4 seasons? Because it's not very fun.
See, I always forget about that because that's not something I dealt with past, maybe 2 years ago. And now, all of a sudden, it's like the seasons change and all of my sinuses fall out of me.
I just do not cope with the changing of any atmosphere, any environment, any nature. My body is just like, you know what? No. I can't.
So we need to move, is what you're saying.
Well, I've been saying that for a while. Yeah.
I'll put a poll up on our TikTok, and we'll see where our listeners think we should move. Where doesn't have 4 seasons, but it's not overly hot, because I can't do that either.
Yeah, maybe we just move into the 4 Seasons hotel and call it good.
Oh, I'm sure that would do it.
We just stay inside.
That's the lesson here. Never leave the inside.
Yes.
We are part of a family that's very nature-y.
Not that nature-y.
No, I mean they're not backpacking through the forests or anything.
They're not going to the Grand Canyon, finding a donkey and riding it down.
I mean, maybe they are. I don't know. I didn't ask.
Family? Do you have something to say?
No, but they like the outside. They're just outside sorts of people. And then you've got us, and we'll sit down and have a conversation with people, and I'm like, I like the inside. And they're just the horror on their faces. They're so sad.
I enjoy temperature control.
Yep.
I enjoy television.
I utterly despise bugs and weather and wind, leaves, grass.
I think it's a control issue.
It might be.
For me. I don't want to go sit outside at a restaurant because I've already dealt with my hair, And if I sit down outside, the wind is going to blow it, or it might be too hot and my makeup might sweat off, or it might be too cold and then I'm going to pierce glass. I don't know.
Sorry, Dad.
I like to be in control.
But this year, staying inside has not done us well.
No.
It didn't work for us.
And here we are.
We did go to Disney, though, and that was a lot of outside and a lot of peopling.
But at least they control the bugs at Disney.
Do.
They're like, you know what? You have to be outside, but you're not ever going to see a mosquito.
You won't, but you will sweat to absolute death.
Yeah, and that's the price you pay for magic and joy.
And now we're paying an additional price, which is called snot.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to start this podcast the same way that so many pastors do.
Okay.
So, when you go to most of the bigger churches, I would say they start out with this anecdote and you're like, where could this possibly be going?
Isn't that how we start every episode?
Yeah, but often we go nowhere. I feel like they can turn anything, absolutely anything, into an inspirational God moment. I think I can turn anything into a feminist issue.
Okay, I'm ready. I don't think anyone would argue with you at this point, but I'm ready.
Well, I don't know that I can turn anything into... Well, yeah, I think I can.
All
but
right.
Today, Alyssa and I were at Starbucks. I know. You're shocked. You're absolutely piddling your pants. But this man cut us in line. Wonderful. He's wearing pajamas. He's really winning at life.
This isn't even a normal Starbucks. This is a Starbucks in Target.
Another shocker. But I was like, okay, do your thing. And so he went up and ordered whatever the crap he ordered. And this poor young girl who's working the register was just like, okay, can I get a name? And so he gave her his name. He said, I guess, blah, blah, blah. She goes, okay, how do you spell that? Just so I can write it on the cup. And he goes, I don't know.
He said, my mom spells it for me.
Yeah, he did say that, didn't he? And he refused to tell her how to spell his name.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, well, it might be spelled wrong on the cup. I don't know. And he's like, well, that might deduct from your tip.
She was so uncomfortable, but she's trying to, like, customer service, you know, like we all know. And I just felt so bad for her.
I think it's customer service, but I think it's also women are taught to diffuse the situation.
For sure, yeah.
Like, if I, being the sassy person that I am, if he said that to me, I'd be like, your mom spells your name for you?
You'd get yourself fired right there. That's what would happen. There's a reason you don't work in these situations.
Does your mom wipe your butt too? I don't know.
Yeah, I felt so bad for her. And when Brie and I got up there, she was the absolute sweetest thing.
Yeah.
She was just trying to live her best life. She was so nice. And just having to deal with men. Like, because I don't know what to say. Like, was he trying to flirt with her? Because she was younger than us, and he was probably a good decade and a half older than we are. Was he trying to be funny? Like, I don't know what the situation was because there was no tone.
I think a big thing too is like when you just open your eyes to these issues, sexist issues, misogynist issues, you see that it's truly everywhere. And it's just, it gives you the ick. It gives you the ick.
Like, there was a man working behind the counter as well. And I just want to know, if the man had been up there taking his order, would it have been such an uncomfortable, bizarre situation? Probably not. And for those of you out there that might be sitting there being like, okay, well, that's not that bad. Like, she was fine. Everybody was safe, whatever. You have to understand that for women, when you're dealing with these kinds of situations, you don't know who that other person is. And all of us have had enough bad situations in our lives to be very wary of anybody that's a little too weird, that's a little too familiar. Anybody that's trying to make a joke like that, you have to be cautious because 1 out of 4 women in the United States will be attacked in her lifetime.
And women specifically, I think, are very taught to be extra cautious. You think, like, when she gets off her shift at the end of the day, is she going to have to be looking over her shoulder? Is she going to have to look underneath her car to make sure that no one's hiding underneath there? And it's Target. It's a big parking lot. Lots of things can happen. Lots of things have happened in places like that. So you just have to be extra cautious. And that's why, like, just heads up, men out there, quit being freaking weird. Just be a normal person. If she asks you how to spell your name, spell your name. Be polite, move on.
Or for goodness sakes, if you don't want to give your real name, give him, like, Bob. Yeah, something super simple and who cares?
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Just don't be weird.
Or learn how to spell.
That would work too. If you're going to give a weird name, know how to spell the weird name. I actually was thinking about that today because, so we interacted with her. On Sunday mornings, today is Sunday for us. On Sunday mornings, we have like a whole little ritual of things that we do. We go to the farmer's market, we get coffee. Today we happened to go to Target. And there are certain people that we often interact with. And of course, one of the people we interacted with was our good friend, the cheese lady.
A saint, really.
And we see her all the time. And she's just so nice and sweet and chill. And I was thinking about like interacting with her and then interacting with this woman at Starbucks and just how pleasant female interactions can be and how uplifting they can be. Because like I walked up to the woman at Starbucks and she goes, oh my gosh, your nails are so pretty. You just look so pretty. And I have no makeup on. This is not the best I've ever looked, but it's little things like that little connection with people. And when it's women together, and this is not all the time, but most of the time it's a comfortable, safe feeling, you know, so you walk away from that interaction feeling good, not feeling threatened in this particular case.
Whereas like oftentimes a man could say the same thing to you, like, oh, you look so pretty, but your guard is already up because of the experiences that we've had, because of the issues that you've had with men. So it's just different. That interaction is always going to be different because you have to be on guard.
Yep. So today, speaking of being on guard, I think last week we talked about how Brie was going to get back on the dating apps so we'd have some good stories. And frankly, she failed us. So
Hey, I did get back on the apps. It's just that the hang on, I'm buffering. The pile of crap out there isn't that interesting.
And speaking of pile of crap. So the inspiration for this episode came from my work because I was working on a piece about a conservative dating app and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. And so it launched me into this whole exploration of, is this a thing? Because obviously we all know that there are tailored dating apps. There's like Christian Mingle.
I have a list of them.
All right,
You want to
read them
hear?
for me. Yes.
Gluten-free singles. Clown dating.
What?
Salad match.
What?
Awake dating.
As opposed to asleep?
Diaper mates.
Ooh,
Farmers only. We all know that one.
we do know that one.
Should I get on that one?
Maybe.
I don't know how I feel about farming.
Probably not great. We don't like the outside.
I do like that one ride at Disney, though. Mullet passions.
What?
Equestrian Cupid. Furries.
Yeah.
Sea captain date.
Wait, what? Are there enough of those?
Gothic match.
Sure.
And herpes fish.
What?
And I'm going to end there.
Oh, dear.
There's so many. There's a dating app for absolutely everything. There might not be a lot of options on that dating app. Maybe one person signs up for herpes fish, but
This is not a list of recommendations.
no, this is Google.
But anyway, so there's obviously like you can get hyper specific or you can go on Tinder. You know, like you can get hyper specific or you can just be very general in these things. Mm-hmm. So today we're going to focus on the hyper specific, and that is right-wing, hyper conservative, often very Christian and
Air quote
Christian, very churchy type of groups. So the first one that we're going to talk about is called the right stuff or date right stuff, depending on what you see.
Should I sing that song too?
Is there a song there?
Yep.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to sing it if you don't know what it is.
What is it?
The right stuff.
Oh, I was on date right stuff and then I was confused.
No.
Anyway, so the right stuff was founded by John McEntee, which I may or may not be saying that correct, Daniel Huff, and Isaac Staltzer. And these are three men who are like Trump insiders. So John in particular was very involved in Trump's first campaign and then was kind of ousted because he had gambling issues and a bunch of other stuff going on.
because Trump has no issues.
No,
Yeah.
he's perfect.
Yeah.
Obviously. Sarcasm. And then once the second campaign hit, this man was like brought back and had all the PR things like, oh no, he's really good. Actually, we forgave him. It's fine.
He turned a leaf.
Yeah, he didn't.
Or whatever that phrase is.
I don't think that's it. This was also funded by a man named Peter Thiel, who is a gay man, which becomes interesting because this app does not allow for gay relationships. It's all very like heterosexual, straight relationships. Just an interesting little side note. Now, this app has had a lot of controversy surrounding it, and we'll get into a good bit of it. So first, it was invite only. So basically, you have to apply. They have to approve that you're actually hyper-conservative.
How do you apply? Is there like an application?
Yeah, so you go on the website, and you have to fill out all your information, and then they go through and review, I guess, to make sure that you're not a raging feminist. I don't know.
They don't want any secret feminists
No
in
secret
there.
feminists.
No,
Gotta keep
just
them out.
gaining information. I should get on these,
You should not.
and then I could get some inside scoops.
That would be inside. So part of the issue with this was that people waited a really long time to get approved. Like it was just kind of clunky. People were like, I downloaded this 2 months ago, haven't been approved, blah, blah, blah. But also a big issue was that women were not applying.
God works in mysterious ways.
I know, isn't that so strange?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say that there aren't plenty of very conservative women out there that are fighting against feminism, strangely enough, but apparently not enough to keep the app afloat.
I think it's just hilarious to me that men were like, no, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
This is amazing. We're going to get the best kind of women out here. It's going to be the best dating app you've ever seen in your life. And all of a sudden, there's no women out there.
Well, that's what one of the quotes says. It's basically Grindr, but unwilling. It's a bunch of straight men. And that's all. Like, there were not a lot of women. Also, some of the prompts. So you know how if you're on Tinder or whatever, it's like, what's your ideal vacation or whatever, and you're supposed to fill that out so people get to know you a little bit.
Yeah.
So one of them was January 6th was ... Now, if you're from another country and you're not familiar with January 6th, that was when a large group of hyper-conservative people basically attacked the government.
Yeah.
They infiltrated government buildings in the United States. It was a big, big, bad situation. And they did this all because Trump didn't get elected.
Dun, dun, dun.
So January 6th was ... is a question that you have to ask. Probably, I would assume, in the application process.
It's not too hot and it's not too cold. All you need is a light jacket.
Not in Michigan. And then people also, so this is funny. So the FBI has been looking for a lot of the people that were involved in January 6th because it was a big deal. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people reported getting calls from the FBI after they filled out this information for this app.
Shocking.
I know. Because they were saying like, oh, I was involved, or oh, I was there, or whatever. So the FBI is like, okay, well, let's have a chat.
Thanks for sharing that information. We just need to have you come down to the station.
Just real quick. They also had ads that were promoting things like red flags are being a Democrat. Or they would have ads with women saying that they wanted alpha male vibes. So again, that like hyper-conservative thought process, except for apparently no women were there. So no one wanted the alpha male vibes.
Listen, I get that there's a dating app for everything. And there's a lid for every pot, so I've heard. I haven't found a lid. I'm claiming the pot. But it just is it's just a little much.
You know, we talk a lot about echo chambers on this podcast. And I think if you seek out someone who is just exactly like you, and I've seen this happen over and over again, you find someone that you're like, all right, we share all the same ideals. We are on the same page on everything. And I'm not saying that you don't want your partner to have some of the same ideals. Obviously, if you're like fully on opposite ends of things, that's going to be a problem. But if you're just echoing things back and forth to each other, you're never going to learn together. You're never going to grow together. And what happens then? Because either you stay stuck in the rut that you're in and never become what Jesus asked you to be, which is a light to the world, loving to the world, or one of you grows and the other doesn't.
Well, this is what we've said before, like, can you have non-Christian friends? You absolutely should. You absolutely should surround yourself with all kinds of different people who don't think the same as you do. So that, yes, you have more opportunity for God's light to shine, but also so that you don't get stuck. So that you hear different opinions, different voices, so that you can grow as a person. It's like if all you ate was chicken nuggets, day in and day out, you wouldn't be Sir Thriving, would you?
You might be Sir Dying. Well, I think about it in context of dating specifically. When my husband and I got married, I would have quoted all the conservative stuff at you. I was raised in it, so that was normal for me. I would have told you, oh yeah, I want to be a submissive wife. Oh yeah, I believe that the husband is the head of the household, blah, blah, blah. Like, I would have quoted all of those things at you. As time went on, I realized, oh, I actually don't believe any of this. Violently. I violently don't believe it. And so I grew into a very different person, even though I would have said all of those things. So if I was on this app, this man would have had quite the turnaround.
Yeah. And I even think back to who I was not even that long ago. Like, in college or shortly after college, I think I'm the same as you. Whereas I would have quoted all of this to you because that's what I grew up to believe. But then as I got a little bit older and as like marriage was more on the table or I grew a brain for myself, I was like, no. And being a single person, that most of this applies more to me than to you, I assume. When I go through, and I know I've said this before a million times, but when I'm going through the dating apps, I now specifically, there was a time where I could say like political views, I was more open, you know, conservative, moderate, liberal, and I think it would be okay, like, you know, to have slightly differing opinions. That's okay. But now when I'm going through the dating apps, I will not match with anybody who's conservative at this point, because it's not just a political issue to me anymore. It's a moral issue.
Yeah.
And I don't feel safe.
Well, that's the big thing, I think, and again, for you, but is safety. When you read the things, and I'll read some quotes in a couple minutes from these apps, there is always the question of safety with these hyperconservative people in a relationship, because when you don't respect the other person, and there is a massive lack of respect here, you're never going to be safe in their presence. You're just not.
And I know that I've said this before on the podcast too, but if you're new, hey, welcome. We're sisters, and we talk about faith and feminism.
Wow.
Feminism.
There you go. We're really sick.
But I've dated a few different types of people, and the people that I felt the most respected by were non-Christians.
Well, I mean, Christian men today in the conservative church, and this is an overview. This isn't talking about every single person. This isn't talking about every situation. But oftentimes, Christian men in the conservative church in the United States are directly taught not to respect women. Not like, oh, they're just not taught how to respect them. They're taught to not respect them.
Because women are less than them.
So then the other issues that this particular app has had, before we move on to additional apps, who knew there were more?
Oh,
now you
what
do.
a treat.
So just in case you might think, hey, no, this is a good thing made by good, strong Christian men. Hold up. So
Hold up. Wait. I'm done.
Was that for Mom? Because Mom said you should sing more.
Oh, yeah. You're welcome, Mom.
So John McEntee, who was one of the founders, again, super problematic prior to this. Not a good guy. And I guess, you know, PR makes him look better than he was for a minute. But then all of a sudden, allegations started coming out. Are we shocked?
We never are.
And essentially, several 18-year-olds who had been using the app. Now, this man is, I believe, in his 40s.
Too old
To be messaging 18-year-olds. And he started messaging them using this app, using the branding, saying like, oh, hey, I founded this app. Look how amazing I am. He was offering them gifts and trips and lots of other things. And they came out with this, and he was like, oh, no, I never did that. That wasn't a thing.
It must have been hacked. It was never me. I've never seen that woman before in my life.
There's screenshots. So, like, it's a little bit hard to lie about that.
I mean, when you're not taught to respect humanity, to respect anybody that looks anything other than what you look like, this is what happens.
Right.
Every time.
Well, you can see this broader culture throughout our political system, throughout our religious system right now, where you see just constant abuse. I mean, it's not like, no one's surprised. When I said that he messaged 18-year-olds, you guys weren't shocked. Because countless pastors, it comes out that they have been inappropriate with young girls or young boys.
And, like, so many men in positions of power.
I mean,
in the
most
church.
of our politicians, so many of our high-ranking, church officials, things like that. It's
because
everywhere.
We've condoned it, and we've allowed people to hide things, and we've said, this is acceptable to us. The amount of abuse is acceptable in pursuit of maintaining your power.
Right.
Why?
And not just it's acceptable to us, but we've put God's stamp of approval on it because the church itself is fully willing to hide it.
I highly encourage you to read Beth Allison Barr's book, Becoming a Pastor's Wife, because she talks a lot about that within the church. Situations where the church has specifically tried to hide abuse in order to maintain the status of the pastor, the elder, whoever was in power.
So one of the really great quotes that I found about this app, there are several, and some of these, they come from Reddit threads, they come from reviews, whatever. But one that I thought was very funny was, I tried to join to see all the men in my area that I should avoid. The next one says, this app is invite only. Unfortunately, I will just need to continue using the sex offender registry. So essentially women are out there saying, I would never. Not all women, because there certainly are some women that are fine with this in theory. And again, like Brie and I said, for all the men out there that are thinking like, oh, I'm going to go find this conservative woman and it's going to be great forever, we would have said the same things too. It doesn't always work out like that.
Yeah. Like, in theory, yeah, it's great. I'm going to go find a trad wife who's going to allow me to stomp all over her and treat her like an object. Well, it's not that easy if there's no women there.
And it's really hard to find someone that's going to be fine with that their whole lives. Things change and people's viewpoints change.
People get sick and tired of being lied to about who God is. And if they're really pursuing God, I would hope that their eyes are open to God's true nature.
Now, the next app that we're going to talk about is called Writer. Now, I'm not actually sure if this one still exists, but it was founded, unfortunately, by a woman. Her name is Christy Edwards Lawton, and she explicitly framed this whole thing as anti-feminist and pro-traditional gender roles. So that was like the branding. She said, this app is for conservatives by conservatives. And if you don't agree with that, get on a different app. Writer is not the app for you. She also went on to say, which is very easily refuted, but she said, conservatives have better sex than liberals, more meaningful sex. And I find that very funny because if you follow Sheila Ray Gregoire, who has a page called Bare Marriage, she has done books, she's done a ton of research on, well, sex, frankly, within the Christian context, because sex is such a taboo subject in Christian circles, at least in the US. I don't know about other countries. But here it's just such a, like, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about sex.
Was that We Don't Talk About Bruno?
Yeah.
Was it?
I was trying to get there.
I don't think you got there.
I didn't get there. I just made it awkward.
Yeah, you did.
You're welcome.
But particularly for women are taught, like, that we're supposed to be innocent, that we are not supposed to know anything about sex. We're not supposed to talk about it. We're not supposed to, even after you're married, not supposed to communicate about it at all, really know anything about it.
You're supposed to let your husband teach you.
Right, exactly, which, ew. Yuck. But in a lot of Sheila's research, she talks about how, and she just did a really big study and talking about how in these types of very conservative traditional marriages, sex is often not enjoyable for the woman. Because it's a power struggle.
Well, I also find it very interesting because, like, purity culture, women are always taught to save themselves for marriage, that their greatest gift to their husband is their purity, their virginity. But yet you have, like, in theory, they're saying the same thing to the guys. In theory. But in actual practice, like I just said, the husband is supposed to be the teacher, air quote. How is he supposed to teach what he's never done?
It's just so icky. It's such a weird thing. And that statement, conservatives have better sex, more meaningful sex. What you're trying to say there, I think, in the more meaningful sex is, I guess maybe that you have a better connection with that person because you have the same ideals.
I think it's just marketing. I think it's just what's like a hot button thing that will catch people's eyes. It doesn't have to be true. And often when you have to push something like that, like, oh, we have better sex. We have better sex. If you have to say that, often it's not true.
Well, and is that really, from a Christian standpoint, is that really what you want to be marketing your relationship app to be? Because that sounds more like Tinder to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It doesn't sound like, oh, here's a meaningful, deep relationship. It sounds like, let's have sex.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's Tinder for conservatives.
Well, that sounds counterintuitive.
I said conservatives, not Christians.
That's true. That's true. And she did say conservatives. She did not say Christians. However, there is often like that pipeline right there. So according to a lot of different quotes and things like that, this one was maybe less polished than the current version, which is the right stuff that we just talked about. And people see it as kind of like the precursor. Like this is what led to that, you know? So it already existed, but I guess maybe you needed a better marketed version. I don't know.
Is this the one that said you never have to go on a date with a feminist again?
No, that comes later. Wait for it.
It just bothers me that there's such like a stigma and a hate against feminists, because all feminism means is equal rights for all, not just for women, for men too. We just want to both be seen as human beings, both respected equally. And if you want to have a quote unquote traditional marriage, if you want to cook for your husband, if you want to be the stay-at-home partner, but it's your choice, that's completely fine. But saying that all women have to be that way is wrong.
Yeah, I think that's the big issue that I have, is that someone else chooses this for you.
Yeah.
If you want to stay home, man or woman. If that works in your family, you don't need that dual income, and that's what works out for you, great. Do it. Have a good time. I don't care. Doesn't impact my life. But you should be choosing it for yourself, for one.
Exactly.
And two, it can't be prescriptive to everybody else. You can't sit there and say, well, this works for me, therefore it must work for you. And frankly, the U.S. is one of the few places that's having this issue, because when you look at many of the countries around the world, it's not even an option for one of the spouses to stay home. It's barely an option here, just financially. And so when you put God's name on this traditional outlook of things, where like the woman has to stay home, the woman has to be taking care of the kids, whatever, if it only works in your tiny culture and it doesn't work for everybody else, then it's not from God, because God didn't write the Bible for just white U.S. Christians.
Right. And if you're really harping on like traditional family values, strengthen the traditional family, whose tradition, you're right, whose tradition are you talking about? Because it's not really in the Bible. This white American view of family is not in the Bible. Right. Read it. Go ahead and read it. Show me where it is. It's not.
We talked about this in the episode where we talked about James Dobson. And I find it so interesting that in the U.S. we have this major focus on the nuclear family, traditional family values. We want dad at work. We want mom at home raising the children. Everybody focuses on their own nuclear family. And I find that so weird because, again, if we're going back to the Bible doesn't really talk about the nuclear family a whole lot. Not only does it not talk about gender roles in this context of women stay home, men go to work, it doesn't really talk about the family.
Because the biggest thing is to go out and spread God's message, right? To love your neighbor, to help your community, to be a light unto the world, not just a light in your house. But
U.S. culture is so hyper independent. We've got that whole like pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's all about you and only you. And so instead of the Christians taking a step back and saying, hey, wait, that's not really what God said. Instead of that, we said, how can we turn the Bible around to say what makes sense for us, what we want it to say? And what we want it to say is, I'm only going to focus on me and no one else.
In Mormonism, they believe that Jesus sailed in a canoe over to America. And Christian people would be like, that didn't happen. I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. But they act like he did.
Like he came
Right?
over here, yeah.
Like he came over here. They whitewashed him. And they said, no, he loves our traditions, strangely enough. No other traditions. That's really weird. I don't know.
How did that happen? So strange. So then I've got two more. The next one is the funniest name of them all. It gets the funniest name award. It is called Donald Daters. And I'm not kidding.
As in Donald Duck?
Yeah, basically. Anyway, so Donald Daters was launched in 2018 under the tagline. Are we ready? Are we going to be surprised? We're not. Make America date again.
My gosh.
How many different ways can we use that phrase?
And you can only wear red hats
That's
when
required.
you go out and date, and that's how you identify each other.
And a red tie. So this app did not last very long. It's very controversial because on day one, they had a massive data leak. So basically all these people put in all of their information, probably financial information because you're paying for most of these apps. They put in all their personal data.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like your personal information.
Yep. It was one of the biggest data leaks of an app at the time. And so
Were they
kind of...
all trying to date Trump? Was that the goal?
Yeah.
He has a wife, I think.
Well,
that he's devoted to her, I heard.
You heard that, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Bree's about to throw up over in the corner. Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. It was just dating profiles, just hoping he'd see it.
Yes.
Donald Duck, specifically.
Pick me.
It's like that Grey's Anatomy quote. Pick me, choose me, love me. It's the absolute worst part of the show. So then the last one, because that one obviously kind of like faded into the background because huge data leak. People didn't trust it anymore. They were like, well, maybe not. I just thought it was hilarious because that's the funniest name I've ever seen.
That's hilarious.
The next one is called Patrio. And essentially, like, they went really hard on the America vibes, which I find very strange. I find the American patriotism very odd.
Little culty.
Yeah. I had a friend in college. She was a missionary kid and had grown up overseas. And she was like, even though her family was from the States, she had grown up overseas. And she was like, the Pledge of Allegiance is super creepy. She was like, all the flags everywhere, that's not happening other places. That's just a here thing.
Someone who I went to college with too is from Germany, and she said the same thing. She's like, the biggest difference is you guys are really, really devoted to your country.
Which, again, is odd to me because if we look at the Bible, once again, there's never this concept of be so proud of your geographical location.
Or how about you should have no idols before me?
Right.
How about that? How many things are we turning into idols that you would never admit it being an idol? But I think church has become an idol for so many people. The Bible has become an idol.
Yes.
Your country has become an idol.
Yes.
Marriage has become an idol. All of those things you're putting before God and what God really said. And God said, follow me. Follow me up here in the sky. I'm assuming he's in the sky.
I think the Bible one is such an interesting thing. When Jesus died and then rose back again and went to heaven, he said, I leave you with my spirit. He didn't say, here, I leave you with these 66 books. I know that's kind of a controversial statement, but yeah, Jesus didn't actually leave us with the New Testament.
He didn't.
It was not here when he left. He said, I leave you with my spirit to guide you.
Now, I believe that the Bible is inspired by God. The words are inspired by God. But I think they've also been translated and translated and translated by people who have... Now, Alyssa and I have had this conversation before, but who have agendas,
right,
who are from different cultures. And that is going to affect you, even if you think that it doesn't. The little word choices that you use. Instead of using they, you use he. Or adding the chapter titles that were never originally there. But just like little things that the normal person would not know about reading their Bible. They don't know about the controversy between the NIV and the KJV and the NLT. But it's stuff, if you're dedicated to your Bible, you should know that.
Yeah, it's important. So the tagline, back to this app, because they get the award for the most disgusting tagline. And let me tell you, there was some competition on this one. But their tagline is, "You never have to endure another date with a feminist."
Lucky you. You never have to endure another date at all.
That's the big issue with so many of these apps from what I'm seeing. Now, obviously, this is like background research, but there are not a lot of women. There are a lot of men. There are a lot of men spouting off what they're looking for and then being upset when nobody wants that.
I don't want to be like super, just reading into it. I don't know. But like the women who are into traditional marriage, this conservative viewpoint, I don't think they're having a hard time finding husbands. Many of them are getting married very young because they're told to marry very young. They're finding spouses through church or through their parents or I don't know where. Equestrian club? I don't know.
Or inmates. There was an inmate dating on there. I saw that one.
I think more men are having a hard time finding these very unique women. So that makes sense to me. Why these dating apps are full of men and they're really, really believing they're going to find these women on there.
Women, and again, there certainly are women that are into this, I guess, but as a whole, you're going to see a lot less women in this space than you're going to see men. Because this teaches men, you have all the power, you have all the strength, you're the most important person in the universe. And it teaches women, you're worthless.
Men in this situation have everything to gain.
Yep.
You're told you're the number one power holder. Your decision is final. You're on par with God. Of course, that's going to draw you in.
I mean, it makes total sense. If all you're after is your own gain, your own power, if you're really not concerned with anyone else or about the love of God, then this is very intriguing. This makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's when you become a more aware person, when you start seeing outside of your bubble, when you start caring about others, that you're like, oh, actually, this is not so good.
Again, the bar is on the floor.
On the floor.
All you have to do is see me as a human.
The bar is burrowing into the earth. It's real low.
We're going to have to dig a hole to get under it.
One of the quotes about this app is, "It was fast and fun, but again, it did not deliver me any matches or in fact anyone at all. Unusual because I conducted the experiment from one of the reddest cities." So you can see this even in people's reviews. So if you go in and you look at the App Store for some of these reviews, or you can look on Reddit, you'll see people saying, "There are no women here." That was kind of all the major apps that we want to talk about. And the really problematic thing, I think, across the board is just that echo chamber that you really have to consider. Do you only want someone that's exactly like you? Do you want someone who will never challenge you, who will never ask you to grow?
That's not going to be very spicy. And if you're on the dating app, that's what you're looking for, right?
Christians have better sex. I'm sorry, conservatives. Conservatives have better sex. Yeah, if you look for someone who's just a carbon copy of you.
Marry yourself like Sue Sylvester in Glee.
Wow, that was quite the reference. That was a throwback.
Just marry yourself.
They had somebody do that on Say Yes to the Dress recently. So those are the main apps. But then those lead into a scarier reality. Once you accept this reality that women are less, and everyone has to believe the exact same way that you believe, or they are worthless too. As we see happening all over our country and frankly our globe right now.
Yeah.
This is something that it can lead into. So Brie talked about this a little bit in the last episode, and I did some research for parent-run matchmaking apps. Now, this is, depending on the culture you're in, going to be like super strange For me, this was like a, how does this exist? But there are cultures around the world where matchmaking from parents is much more common.
Well, there's like, if you want just to dip your toes into it, like Indian matchmaking is on Netflix.
Yeah.
I believe it's kind of like a matchmaking dating show from the Indian culture, because that's an actual job there, is matchmaker. They find people and mix them together. But if you think of in the conservative Christian world, they're not so much into dating as into courting. And it's very similar, because specifically if a man is interested in a woman, he doesn't go to her. He goes to her father first. And her father decides whether the man can court this woman. And it's specifically in pursuit of marriage. They're not just dating to get to know each other. They're dating to marry.
And obviously, if you are dating, and not everybody dates with the intention of marriage at all, but a lot of people do. They date with the intention of like finding their forever partner.
And some people date for, the pursuit of a good dinner.
Some people do. But the difference there is that when you're dating to get to know someone, you have the freedom to say, you know what, this didn't work out. We're just going to step away. It didn't work out. Not a big deal. We're just not going to see each other again. When it comes to courting, because you almost start off engaged. And now, in order for there to be a reason for you to be separate and break this off, you have to like go through your parents. Not even your parents. You have to go through your dad. And there has to be this it's like a big thing. Like, oh, we're breaking off a courtship. That's like a bigger deal. As opposed to just being able to say, you know what? I know myself well enough to say this isn't going to work.
So much of dating, too, is getting to know yourself. Every date that you go on with a different person, you're kind of collecting little bits of yourself. Like, oh, I am interested in long hair. But it's not just physical. It's, this is how I want to be treated. This is how I expect to be treated. This is something about me that I want this person to know. And without that freedom to do that, you don't get to know yourself.
Well, that's the issue. So these parent-run matchmaking apps, they originated in South Asia, in India, areas like that, but they're now starting to be marketed to the US, to parents that want to kind of control that marriage situation, because there's many factors here. There's the purity culture factor of the faster I get my kids married off, the less likely they are to fall into the sin of sex before marriage. It's also this concept of worrying about culture corrupting your kids. And I guess you don't have to worry about that once they're married. I don't really know. But you've got parents who are arguing with the school systems over what books are going to be allowed, over what's taught in sex ed classes, over all of these different things. And so another element of control is courtship, is arranging situations. And we're not too far from that being a cultural construct. As we move into this more ultra hyper conservative Christian space that does not value the opinions of women, I will not be surprised to see stuff like this develop.
I think for a lot of these parents, I think the scariest thing for them is that their kids think for themselves, because they might think differently. If the worst thing in the world is that your kid thinks for themselves and loves for themselves, what is that?
Sad. It's sad. You should have enough love in your heart to look at your children and say, hey, I will love you no matter what.
Unconditional love, baby, just like Jesus.
God loves you no matter what. And I know that you'll go forward and love the rest of the world too.
And it's almost terrible to yourself too. Like, you don't trust yourself or your parenting enough to allow your child to think for themselves and make their own decisions.
If at the end of my parenting journey, when my kids turn 18 and go to college, or when they turn 25 and come back home from college and need to stay with me, as we did with our parents, whatever point where they are adults. If they are going out and showing the love of God. That's it. That's all I care about.
Mm-hmm.
I will trust them and myself enough, and God enough, to say, as long as they're showing the love of God. I truly believe that when you get to heaven, all you answer for is, did you love God and did you love others?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a lot of caveats there. I sincerely don't believe that God will ask for a tally mark of how many times you went to church. I don't believe that he's going to say, and how many cross necklaces did you wear?
He can't. Because all of the people who came before, how would they answer that before we had the traditional U.S. every Sunday church?
Mm-hmm.
Or what about the people in other cultures and countries who don't have easy access to churches?
Mm-hmm.
Or the people who live in poorer communities who don't have a very robust church?
Mm-hmm. But there are people today that sincerely will tell you, when you die and go to heaven, you're going to answer for all of these things. Did you vote Republican? Did you go to church every Sunday? Did you go to church every Sunday night? Did you go to church every Wednesday? And that you're going to have to answer for all these little things. But Jesus very specifically said, love God, love others. These are your two most important commandments. On par with one another. Love God and love others. These apps are not asking you to love God and love others. They're asking, how much do you love yourself? Is it a bunch? Then welcome on in.
It's not even just how much do you love yourself. It's how much do you love our current administration?
Mm-hmm.
How devoted are you to it? And that determines the kind of life you will have.
Yeah. So, as we were talking today, we decided on next week's episode, which is just the sort of stream of consciousness thing that happens here. So we're going to talk a little bit about idols and what we make idols. I think we make, like Bree said, the Bible an idol. I think we've made the flag an idol. I think there's a lot of things that we've turned into idols. And we'll talk about that. And it's not just going to be money. It's not just going to be the things you hear preached about at church, but like the scary ones.
The scary ones that you would never call an idol,
Mm-hmm.
but your actions are calling them an idol.
Hey, that's good. We're getting spooky for spooky month.
Oh.
We're getting scary. Last year, isn't it wild that we can be like, all right, we did this last year? So last October, we did one on the Salem witch trials because we had an episode that came out on Halloween.
That was so good.
Yeah. So if you guys have any ideas for like a specific Halloween spooky episode that you'd like us to research, that would be super fun. Let us know on our socials.
My life is scary enough right now. Let's just talk about heaven.
Welcome to Halloween. We're going to be speaking about heaven today. All right. Well, get ready for next week. We'll be scary, but not that scary because Bree's already scared.
Always.
Always.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's what we should rename our podcast.
We are more uncomfort.
We're more than uncomfort.
Discomfort. I think the word is discomfort.
No, we've made a new one.
We're doing a great job today. All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Goodbye.